Right now, deep in the Amazon jungle, there's a 12-year-old boy from the Sadare Mawe tribe who's about to take his first steps into manhood by sticking his hands into specially made bullet ant gloves. His knees are shaking. His voice is quiet. He can feel the beads of sweat dripping down on his face as his heartbeat quickens. Between you and me, he's terrified. And with good reason. The bullet ant has a sting that's 30 times stronger than a bee sting. That means that one bullet ant sting feels like 30 bee stings all at once in one concentrated spot. And that's just one of the ants. There are at least 50 ants in each of those gloves, and their stingers are pointing inwards towards the hand. They're agitated because they're trapped. They're angry. Their stingers are flailing around. In a ceremony ranging from 10 minutes to 11 hours, the boy is going to stick his hand into those specially made gloves. No initiate is considered a true man until he's completed the process 20 times. One by one, each boy comes up and lets the elders put the gloves on their hands. The rest stand there and watch as they wince in agony as the neurotoxin bleeds into their bloodstream. That boy is absolutely terrified. But if he doesn't do this, if he backs out now, he will not be considered a true man of his tribe. This will affect his marriage prospects. This will affect his standing in the tribe. This is really, really important. And with one shaky step forward, the boy shows bravery. I'm Damian Barton, and today we're going to talk about the 3 types of bravery, and we'll go over how you can become just a little bit braver. Before we can talk about the 3 types of bravery, we gotta look at what bravery is. In Ryan Nemec and Robert McGrath's book, The Power of Character Strength, they say that to be brave is to face your challenges, threats, or difficulties. It involves valuing a goal or conviction and acting upon it, whether popular or not. A central element involves facing, rather than avoiding, your fears. So you need a situation that makes you feel fear. Otherwise, you don't really have the right circumstances to be brave. If you're doing scary and dangerous things, but you're not scared of the negative consequences, then you're just acting recklessly. Let's say your house is on fire and your puppy's inside. You know that by running into the house, you could burn to death. But even though that's the case, you go to save your puppy anyways. That's overcoming fear. That's bravery. But if you run into your house to thoughtlessly grab your phone without thinking about that if you get caught in that fire, you're going to burn to death, then you're not being brave, you're being reckless. You have to understand the outcome of what could go wrong and face the consequences anyways, if you really want to be brave. If you don't have enough bravery, you become cowardice. The worst thing about cowardice is that it traps you in inauthenticity. It steals the future away from us in a very direct way. Let's say you want to be a comedian, but you were too scared of public speaking, so you won't go up on that stage. Therefore, you know you won't have a career in comedy. Your cowardice stole the dream from you, and in its place, it gave you something else, something you likely didn't want, but was a safe pick. As they say, to be brave does not mean the absence of fear. It means a willingness to act in spite of fear, risk, and uncertainty. There's 3 types of bravery: physical bravery, moral bravery, and psychological bravery. Physical bravery is when you're taking a risk with your body. So the boy from the Sadare Mawe tribe, he was showing physical bravery by putting his body in jeopardy. It's when the firefighters run into the burning building to save a child that's still trapped on the top floor, or a soldier who runs into the line of fire to save his injured comrade. These people understand the consequences that could physically befall them, and they do it anyways because it's the right thing to do. Moral bravery is when you speak up for what's right, even if there's an opposition. So in 1917, when Alice Paul, along with many other suffragettes, chained themselves to the front lawn gates of President Woodrow Wilson's White House, she was showing a lot of moral bravery. At a time when women couldn't vote, she was putting herself in harm's way because it was morally the right thing to do. She and her followers knew they would be imprisoned for this protest. They knew they'd be harassed by the opposition. and wouldn't get any help from the police. They knew the possible ramifications of what they did, and they did it anyways because it was morally the right thing to do. Psychological bravery is when you face your own emotional, mental, and personal problems head on. That means bravely admitting to or even sharing your vulnerabilities and struggles with others, and, when you need it, being able to ask for help. It's when someone admits out loud that they have a drinking problem and they need to get help, or telling your significant other something you genuinely are ashamed of. So even though you face the real proposition of being rejected by other people, you still go forward. It's not uncommon for people to be brave in one area, but not in another. There might be a firefighter who runs into burning buildings, but won't tell his wife about his terrible childhood. There might be an old lady who's terrified of physical danger, but is so honest and empathetic that her openness allows other people to feel safe talking to her. With all three types of bravery, the person understands the consequences and does it anyways. As Nemec and McGrath say, bravery is the recognition that the good that may come from their actions outweighs their personal reservations. It's time for the takeaway tape. This is a very simple exercise. All you'll need is something to write with and a piece of paper, or type it on your phone. In Nemec and McGrath's book, they have some fantastic questions we can ask ourselves to encourage ourselves to be braver. How is your bravery expressed? For example, is it expressed by taking physical risk, supporting unpopular positions, being emotionally vulnerable, thinking unconventionally? A lot of times when we're brave, we don't even realize we're being brave. Certain things become so routine, we forget that the first time we did them, we were really scared. How do you already show bravery in your life? What motivates you to act bravely? What's your reason for doing the right thing even though you're scared? What's your why? Are you trying to be a good person? Will your suffering save the suffering for others? Are you trying to achieve your dream? What's worth more? Not feeling that fear, or the reason you have to be brave? How does bravery exclude you from certain experiences and opportunities? Just like the comedian who was scared of public speaking, your not being brave excludes you from certain opportunities. What are those opportunities? Is it worth it to miss out on all those things just so that you don't have to feel that uncomfortable feeling? In summary, bravery isn't about the absence of fear. It's only when you understand the consequences, feel fear, and agree to move ahead that you create bravery. There's three types of bravery: physical bravery, moral bravery, and psychological bravery. And bravery happens when the good that may arise outweighs the bad of the situation. Join us next week when we talk about self-esteem, and more importantly, we'll talk about what we can do to raise it. If you liked this video and want to be notified anytime a new video is released, hit that subscribe button. Also, I'm pleased to tell you that the Barton Blueprint now has an official Facebook, LinkedIn, and Pinterest page. There's a bunch of extra content like infographics of some of the takeaway tips, as well as some fantastic mental health quotes by many of the most notable names in the field. The links are down in the description. If you want to know more about bravery, I cannot recommend enough the power of character strengths. It's a very well-structured, very practical, easy-to-use guide. It's definitely worth checking out. And as always, thank you for taking care of each other and taking care of yourself. I'll see you next week.